You just spent a bunch of money on getting divorced and you end up with a bad decision from the judge. You may ask yourself, how much does an appeal cost? You may be shocked. So, watch this video for a little bit to the end and get a realistic picture of all the different costs of an appeal. I'm Jim Kraayeveld, managing attorney at Kraayeveld Family Law. I've been doing this over 30 years and have done a lot of appeals, and yes, they can be expensive. The real world price tag is expensive, but I'll give you a couple of money-saving tips at the end of this video. There are two paths to appeal. You have the options of filing an appeal by right or an appeal by leave. If you don't know the difference, watch my other video that explains that. There are different amounts in cost because the one is a little more complicated. Let's stick with the appeal by right and go step by step what your costs are going to be. First of all, there's just the basic filing fees. The Court of Appeals has a filing fee. Statute says that it's $375. Each motion is $100, but if you want to have an expedited motion, there's a surcharge of another $200. Next, you're going to have to order all the transcripts up to the final order or the final judgment. So all of the motions preceding a trial and, of course, all the trial transcripts. You don't get to pick and choose just the important ones or just the one that you think you have as an appealable issue. The rule of thumb is that if you're going to have an entire day of hearings, your transcript cost could be around $2,000. The typical divorce or custody case is going to take 2-3 days or more, and you're looking at about $5,000 in transcript cost. Then you've got attorney's time. They're going to have to review the transcripts, review the exhibits. They're going to read through all of that. They may have to reread through it, and they've got to go issue spot through all the pages. For example, if you have a 5-day trial, you put in 40-50 billable hours, it's going to take at least half of that to review the transcripts. You're spending 25-30 hours of attorney time on that. The state bar states that the average Michigan family law rate is $300 an hour. In Kent County, it's substantially more than that. The UP and other outlying counties might bring that average down. But even at those rates, 30 times 300 some, you're looking at about $10,000 for that step. Then you have additional attorney time of actually writing the appeals brief. You're going to have to do legal research on all the issues that are spotted. Then you're going to be writing a lengthy brief. If you are the appellee, you only get a response brief, which can be fairly lengthy and detailed. And if you're the appellant, the person appealing to the Court of Appeals, you even then get to file a reply brief. It'll be shorter, but you get to respond to some of the arguments raised by the appellee. Again, you're going to be spending at least $10,000 for the research and the brief, whether it's even on the appeals end or the response to the appeal. So in sum, you're looking at $500 in filing fees, motion fees, transcripts fees, another $5,000, attorney's fees, $10,000 to $30,000, depending on how many issues and complicated. So you can spend total $20,000 to $40,000 easily. Now, I have done some simple appeals where it was one issue after one evidentiary hearing, so not a full trial. Those can be well under $10,000. But complex cases can exceed way past $40,000, $50,000. So you need to take that into account. A couple of additional expenses that you may have to consider is you may have to file a motion to stay. If the judge granted particular relief in their decision, that goes into the final judgment, and people are going to start proceeding on that, transferring assets, selling off properties. You may have to file a motion to stay, which is first done in the circuit court to say, can you put a hold on this? If the circuit court, which presumably thinks that its decision was accurate and you shouldn't be appealing it, is going to deny it, you get to file that same motion to stay then in the Court of Appeals. Again, filing fees, motion drafting, time to argue it. So in sum, I want to point out that you need to approach this almost like an investor and not just an angry litigant or respond emotionally. For example, your child support order comes back and they made a mistake of $100 a month, at $1,200 a year. But If you're going to spend $10,000 on an appeal, it will take you 8 years to break even if you win. Child support gets automatically reviewable every 3 years. It's probably cheaper just to wait. So, bring in an appeals attorney early in the process. The minute you get a decision, even before the judgment gets entered, if you can review that with an appeals attorney, review the proposed judgment, and know the issues, an appeals attorney can coordinate with the trial counsel, try to preserve issues, and make sure that you meet all of the deadlines. Every case is unique, so in sum, meet with an appeals attorney, discuss the likelihood of success, and also take into account the potential cost. Thanks for watching. Until next time.